Have you ever traveled through time? We do it every day.
Asgardia is a country with a population of more than 1 million people from more than 200 countries on Earth. Asgardia gives everyone equal opportunities, no matter what their earthly status is.
It is possible to create and live in the future right now. Are you ready? Forward progress is the solution to the entire human race. Our mission is to bridge new horizons. In Asgardia, there is no limit to the universal development in the fields of technology, finance, and arts. Asgardia is a new space and digital economy which creates opportunities for the global economy. We deliver innovations. Do you want to get on board with us? We are developing various kinds of digital businesses, attracting them to the Asgardia platform that can be backed by the means of our umbrella, i.e. franchising of the Asgardia brand. We can not only attract investments into space programs from prominent institutional investors, but also affordable amounts from the citizens of Asgardia. We comprise of more than 1 million people.
Asgardia is a chance to realize one's dream. This is a dream-driven space nation. Asgardia is a chance to belong to a community of free-thinking enthusiasts, goal-driven dreamers, and fearless innovators, theorists, and scientists.
We are the first space nation. One humanity, one unity.
Asgardia.
We are creating
the future.
I'm in the car, Ariadne, that's why you can't see me.
Yeah, a little bit. We are alive, Rebecca said that.
All right, let's check and see if we're live. Okay, we're live. All right, we'll start in 2 minutes. If you're watching anywhere in the world, welcome. I'm Len Topic, Chair of Parliament, and in 2 minutes' time, we will start by introducing our interpreters. So just 2 minutes, we'll start at 5 past, just to let people settle down. That's all. Right, let's just see. Just checking everything is okay. Oh, yeah. Right. Okay, we'll start in 1 minute. Right, okay. The numbers just keep going up. Okay, welcome. Welcome to the 11th sitting of the Second Parliament of Asgardia. 11 sittings in the Second Parliament already. My name's Len Topic. I'm the chair of the Parliament of Asgardia, the world's first space nation. And I welcome you, dear parliamentarians, ministers, members of the Supreme Space Council, and members of the public and Asgardians all over the world. We have 3 days for the final sitting of this year, and I will go through the agenda very soon. I'm so glad you could join us. Before we go any further, let me invite our interpreters to talk to you about how you can follow the proceedings in your language. We do interpretation for English, Russian, Turkish, and Spanish, and I hope to add more to that in the future. Let's start with our Turkish interpreters. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Mr. Öpik.
Hi, good to hear you again.
Değerli Asgardia parlamenterleri, Asgardia 2. Parlamentosu'nun 11. oturumuna hoş geldiniz. Oturumların ilk günündeyiz. Yine tercümanlarınız Eren ve Alper size Türkçe ve İngilizce eş zamanlı olarak tercüme yapacak. Türkçe tercümeyi Zoom pencerenizin alt kısmındaki küre ikonuna tıklayarak seçebilirsiniz. Söz aldığınızda tercih ettiğiniz dilde konuşmanız yeterli olacaktır. Tercümanlarınız tüm söylediklerinizi diğer dile anında çevirecektir. Hepinize verimli oturumlar dileriz. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to our friends in the Russian interpretation department. Great to have you with us. Over to you.
Hello, Mr. Upik. How are you today?
Very well, Elena. It was great to see you in Dubai as well.
Likewise, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Доброе утро, добрый день, добрый вечер, уважаемые господа парламентарии. Вас приветствует ваш переводчик Елена. Мы работаем в паре с Кириллом. Осуществляем синхронный перевод вашего 11-го заседания парламента Асгардии 2-го созыва. Сегодня первый день заседания. И, как обычно, перевод осуществляется в синхронном режиме на русский, испанский и турецкий языки. Переходить на другой канал нет необходимости, вы уже находитесь в нужной комнате. И также нет необходимости делать паузы, когда вы будете говорить. Единственная просьба, если можно, говорить, пожалуйста, чуть помедленнее, чтобы мы могли осуществить качественный перевод и передать все нюансы. Спасибо вам большое и плодотворного вам заседания. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elena. And let's move on to our Spanish interpreter. Liz, great to have you with us again. Hope you're well.
Hello, Mr. Lambert. Thank
Good
you.
to see you. Good to
see
hear you
you.
again. What part of the world are you in?
I am back in the States, in Maryland.
Excellent. Great. Well, over to you.
Thank you. Bienvenidos, estimados parlamentarios y a ustedes en Asgardia TV a este primer día de la sesión número 11 del Parlamento, del segundo Parlamento de Asgardia, la primera democracia digital en nuestro planeta. Las traducciones se estarán haciendo en los idiomas ruso, turco y español de una forma simultánea, es decir, que pueden seleccionar el idioma que desean escuchar o quedarse en el canal principal que esté en inglés. No tienen que hacer pausas cuando hablen, pero sí deben hablar más pausado para hacer la mejor interpretación posible, que sus mensajes queden más claros. Si tienen algún problema técnico a la hora de escuchar en su idioma, por favor levanten la mano, déjenlo saber en los mensajes para que se le pueda asistir. Eso es todo por ahora. Les deseamos un exitoso día de sesión. Gracias.
Thank you so much. And if you have any problems with the process of interpretation for these 4 languages, 1/3 of the recognized languages in Asgardia, please just say. One request, and I ask myself this request as well, speak a little bit more slowly than you would normally. That helps the interpretation a lot. So don't speak too fast. Just normal speed, a little bit slower. So thank you. If you've just joined us, this is the 11th sitting of the Second Parliament of Asgardia. Asgardia is 9 years old now. Next year we celebrate the 10th anniversary on the 12th of October, 2026. and we are the most professional digital democracy in human history. We meet digitally a lot. We meet physically sometimes also. This is the final digital sitting for Parliament in this year, and formal sitting for this year. And as always, I will go through 3 items: the official opening of the sitting and my welcome, which is what I am doing now, and any announcements. Then procedural issues, and finally we close for the first day. Normally, this takes 45 minutes. We used to take the full 2 hours, but because of the simultaneous translation, we saved 75% of the time. And that's a massive improvement. So we do more work in less time. And that's a very clever and smart way to run our operation and our democracy. So I'm going to go through the procedural issues in a minute, but just a couple of points. If you have any issues, any problems with the agenda or questions, please just say. It's a formal sitting, but we communicate informally, and I want everyone to feel very happy with the processes. And if we make a mistake, then you can say, and we'll put that mistake right. Just one more thing. We always expect courtesy, politeness, but you can disagree. You can disagree with me. You can criticize me. It's fine. What matters is that we are all united in the common interests of Asgardia. And our 2 goals are, 1, to have the first permanent human space habitation. So the first full life experience in space, where people are born, they can live their lives in space, they can die in space, have families. And the other goal connected to that, of course, is to have children born in space. That's absolutely 100% essential for when we inhabit space permanently, because you can't come to Earth to have your babies any more than the people who traveled around the world from their homeland went back to their homeland to have children. So everything we are doing here is to achieve those 2 goals. Sorry, I have a slight cold. Now, let's move on to the second item, procedural issues, recording of the quorum and adoption of the agenda of the meeting. I open the voting now. The voting is officially open, and you'll see a lot of things on that voting agenda. I will go through those items in a short while when I talk about day 2. But the voting is open, and we record the quorum by asking you to vote now for the agenda. You can vote for it or against it or abstain. What matters is that you vote, and you can do that now. You can, of course, oppose the agenda if you wish to. If the agenda is rejected, then none of our voting counts. But hopefully you will accept the agenda, and therefore it is a quorum count. Please do that now. We need 50% of parliamentarians plus 1 to be quorate. Then announcements relative to the sitting are all contained in what I talk about tomorrow. And then the draft decision is to approve the agenda of the sitting of the Parliament. That's the quorum count. So now let me go through days 2 and 3. Day 2, as usual, is the big day for debates on voting items. It always has been. It starts at 1300 UTC. There was some discussion about timings a few minutes ago. I have chosen those times because I think they best reflect the compromise for everybody. Some people get up late, some people get up early. I'm very happy always to change those timings if people want me to. My rationale for the timing is that 1300, it's early in the Americas, but late in the Far East, and somewhere in between for Europe. So it's based on where most Asgardians live. So in China, for example, it's many hours ahead. In America, it's many hours behind. Very happy to change that if you want, but for this occasion, it will be 1300 to 2100 UTC. Because of our simultaneous translation, we never use all that time. I would expect tomorrow to take 4 hours. That's what I estimate, but it could be up to 8 hours, but I don't think so. So I'll open the day at 1300. Then we have the government tower. From now on, the government tower will always be the first item on day 2, because then the ministers know when to attend, and it's good use of everybody's time. The government tower might be an hour, it might be half an hour, it might be 1.5 hours, but we call it the government tower. And I already know some of the speakers who will be ministers speaking tomorrow. All ministers, and in fact, all parliamentarians are 100% welcome to contribute at any time to our discussions today, tomorrow, or on day 3. Then after that, this is a new addition and it's very exciting. I'll come back to it. Decree 89 on the drafting and consideration of a legislative proposal on the land of Asgardia in Antarctica and amendments to the Citizenship Act. I'm going to come back to that after I've gone through the agenda. But this is a decree from the head of nation to move us forward with having land of our own on planet Earth. I'll come back to that. After that, on item 4, we reappoint the justices of Asgardia. The proposer is Supreme Justice Mr. Yun Zhao, and the debate is on the reappointment of the 4 justices of Asgardia for a new term of service. This is happening because all of their term of service is finishing. So we have to choose to reappoint them. And that is Parliament's responsibility. The proposal comes from the Supreme Justice, Mr. Yun Zhao, and then the debate will be with you on reappointing the 4 justices. Those people who attended the Asgardia Executive Congress were able to meet our justices, and that was very exciting. They represent part of the executive of Asgardia. The 4 justices are Justice Carrie Shang, Justice Ana Maria Pino, Justice Tom Cabau, and Justice Firu Tiba. Each person is voted on separately. It makes no sense to vote for all 4 together, because if you like 3 of them but do not want to reappoint the 4th one, what do you do? That would not be fair on Parliament, and it would not be logical either. So technically all 4 of those are individual votes, and you'll find them in the items for voting. Then we move on to the Asgardia Opportunities Act first reading. And the proposer is Mr. Alexander Melnikov, and represented by John Fine. The debate will be on the content of the Asgardia Opportunities Act, and the decision will be if you want to approve that first reading or not. This is actually legislation we've talked about before, but in a different way. Mr. Fine made it clear he wanted to have these in legislation because he felt it was necessary to do that. And so that's why we're discussing it. That's very exciting. And you will be able to have those discussions tomorrow. The same is true of the next one, the Asgardia Digital Content Authorization Act first reading. This came as a protocol, but Mr. Fine feels it's better for this to be legislation. So we'll discuss the first reading of that tomorrow as well. This is proposed by, again, Mr. Alexander Melnikov, and John Fine will be representing him. If you approve that, then that will be the first reading. We still have second and third readings after that debate. Next, we move on to the Asgardia Space Debris Mitigation and Management Act. That is at second reading. You approved the first reading at the previous sitting. So this is the second reading here. Further Inan is putting that forward, and the debate is on the content of the Asgardia Space Debris Mitigation and Management Act. So this is the full document now, and you will have the chance to debate that. For the next item, we are still with Further Inan, and that's the Asgardia Space Traffic Management Act. the first reading was approved, so this is the full legislation, and further will explain what that involves tomorrow. But it's very important to us because the space that we want to live in has to be safe, and to be safe you have to manage the traffic. Next, we talk about the Asgardia Youth and Education Framework Act with Sabahattin, and that's also at second reading. This is designed on the great work by Corna Olivier, and it has been taken forward by Sabahattin. And once again, it's the full document, so we need to discuss the content. If you approve it, then we move on to the third reading the next time. And then we close the second day of sitting. So we do have quite a lot of things to vote on. We have 9 items tomorrow, but also we vote on the quorum. So there are 10 items, quite a lot of things to vote on. Then day 3 begins at 1500 UTC with announcements from me. We may have a guest speaker, that is to be confirmed. If not, then there will be a formal report back from the Asgardia Executive Congress, which I shall do. But everyone is entitled to participate, even if you are not at the Congress. Then after that, we'll have an update on the Executive Communications Protocol. That is a flowchart, which has been discussed a lot in terms of how the executive communicates. A lot of discussion has taken place on that, and I think we have a good result on that now. That was also discussed at the Executive Congress. Then we have reports on the implementation of work plans of parliamentary committees, and I am glad to say that every single committee chair has submitted a report. Those reports have been sent to the head of nation. So I'm looking forward to great news on action on all 12 committees. That's a very big positive step forward. Well done, everyone. Then there's a review of timetable for priority acts. That is your opportunity to propose anything else you think we need to do in terms of legislation we need but have not got. Sometimes there is nothing, but if you have got something, that is the time on day 3 to share it. Then after 1700 UTC, so 48 hours after we started at 1700 today, I'll be summing up the results of the voting on the agenda of the meeting of the Parliament. This is a provisional result. It has to be checked by the Counting Commission and the excellent chair of the Counting Commission, Mr. Salvos Mouzakitis, former member of the of the Asgardian Parliament and living in Greece. So we get the results of the voting, which I will share with you. Then closing remarks from me, the national anthem as always, and that finds the end of the sitting. Just 3 other observations. If something important happens, we can modify the agenda in order to include important discussions that we need to have. Secondly, everyone can have a say. Please do not feel that the debate is for other special people. It's for you. If you're here, you've got the right to speak. You don't have to speak, but you've got the right to speak. So please feel free to share good news and bad news. You like to criticize and make suggestions. That's how our collective intelligence can make things better and better. And the final request I have is that while we do all of this, if you can share what we're doing with a wider audience, please feel free to do so. Feel free to put what we're doing here on social media. You're welcome to do that. And if we get coverage, that's great news. You don't have to, but I hope that you do. So that is what happens on the 3 days. That's an overview, starting at 1300 tomorrow. I have one more item I want to go back to now, and then I'll open it up for any questions or comments. On day 2, Decree 89 on the drafting and consideration of a legislative proposal on the land of Asgardia in Antarctica and amendments to the Citizenship Act is a late addition to the agenda at the express request of the head of nation. This is a very big deal because it takes us one step closer to achieving the 4 conditions of the Montevideo Convention. That's what it's called, on state recognition. Why is it a big deal? Because head of nation is 100% committed to the recognition of our state by others and ultimately by the United Nations. And we are in the process of reaching out to the world's countries to invite them to recognize us. But we need land. And we'll find out more about this tomorrow. And I'll take you through the decree. But the idea is to instruct Parliament to generate legislation which helps us achieve land. And Dr. Asher Bailey believes that land could be in Antarctica. That also requires some change to the Citizenship Act. And the head of nation wants us, Parliament, to do our job. So it's absolutely, completely conventionally correct to do it this way. Our decision will be to note the action steps. It's not a voting item, but it's really important, which is why it's on day 2, because the head of nation can issue a decree without needing us to vote on it. But this decree means we have our work to do, and we have a lot of work to do between now and the next digital sitting in the beginning of the next year. It's also an indication of the action that we now must take in order to be fully recognized as a nation state. There has been a lot of debate in Parliament, especially between the chairs of committees who heard about this at the Executive Congress in Dubai some weeks ago now. And there are different opinions. I'm glad to say that those opinions are welcome for the debate. So the head of nation is giving us the authority and the responsibility to create the right legislation to be recognized here on Earth. One other observation: whatever we decide here will work for any piece of land that we can designate as formally Asgardia, not just by name, but in statute. That piece of land needs to be Asgardia, and not a subset of another country, but a country in its own right. So that's going to be an exciting development. And I've seen the decree. You can see it too. It's in the notes for this meeting. And tomorrow we can have an honest conversation in front of the cameras of the world. No one has recently created a new nation. It has happened, of course, in the 1940s. Some controversially, others without too much controversy. We don't want to pick a fight. We don't want to have a war. We just want to have a recognized nation status. And that's what this is all about. I think this is going to be the most important thing we do in 2026, the next year, which is the 10th year of Asgardia's existence. I also think that we can all play a part by finding land, not just the Antarctica option, but other land, which can be explored as well. So we'll leave the debate on this till tomorrow, but it's a debate that I'm really looking forward to us having. Let me summarize then. This is day 1. After we've finished, then I'll close it till day 2. Tomorrow we have the 9 pieces of important legislation to vote on, plus of course the quorum count, the adoption of the agenda itself, which you can vote for now. And we'll be talking about Decree 89 as well as the government tower. And then day 3, it's more internally focused to Parliament, maybe a guest speaker, we'll see. And then the report back from the Asgardia Executive Congress. We have talked about it before, but I want us to put it into the formal record of this Parliament. Then the work plan reports for the 12 committees, review of timetable, and then so forth to the end. So that's what we're doing. I'm excited by it. I'm hoping that you are too. When we finish here, then that will be all for tonight. But let me open it up if you have any questions or comments now. Then I'll leave it open for a minute or two. I can see Peter in the darkness there, but he is with us. Sarah. Sorry I missed your call. We were playing tennis all day. We can
No
do it.
worries.
We can do after this. So if you have a few minutes, I'll call you.
Just a quick question. Are we going to have the pleasure to hear from our justices, or are we simply going to vote?
I believe that Supreme Justice Yun Zhao will be attending and presenting. Let me find out if the justices themselves will be attending. I think the theory is that the chairs at least met the justices in the Executive Congress, but that's a good question, and I will have an answer for you after. I don't think I'm going to get the answer now, but if my team can communicate with me, I'll say. But I don't know for sure yet.
I mean, they're lovely and they're fascinating, and I would have liked to have heard from them earlier. You know, we've been in Parliament for 2 years, and it was just really nice to meet them and put a face to the name and understand what they do. So even if not this government hour, if we could arrange it sometime in the future, whether it's on a question and answer or in an actual sitting, to hear from them, that would be lovely.
Absolutely. Perfectly legitimate question, and I will find out. You're quite right. And as Parliament, you got the right to ask that question. And I'll have the answer latest when we start tomorrow, obviously. But I will try to send a memo to all parliamentarians tonight. John Fine.
Oh,
greetings, Mr. Fine. I think you're probably outside.
Yeah, I'm actually exercising. This is my exercise time. Anyway, and it's really cold out here, and it's wet. And anyway, I'm not complaining. No, I'm not.
I can tell you it's raining here as well, but the sun always rises on day one of our meetings.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to say though, I think this is a huge win for Parliament to start the initial framework for land ownership, and I just want to say that I'm really thankful that HON has given us this responsibility and task. As you requested, I should have a rough draft or a first draft in the LMRG by today. And then everybody can start contributing to that. That's within the LMRG, of course. Anyway, and I think I captured the spirit of the HON, what he wants, but kept it both constitutionally compliant and international law compliant. So, but you know, it is just a rough draft. So we definitely need to go from there once I upload it. But and yeah, there was a lot of debate over this, but I think that's a good thing because people had concerns and worries and whatnot, and I think in some way that this addresses that, and maybe that was the intentions behind one of the intentions behind what the HON was doing, was to address our concerns, and at least I want to hope that, and because this to me is a huge win for Parliament, and so I look forward to working on that with everybody. Thank you.
The head of nation takes Parliament very seriously and was very generous with his time, and every chair of committee who asked for a meeting with the head of nation got a meeting with the head of nation. The head of nation also knows that this is quite a big question. Where do we find the land? And there are different views about Antarctica. My personal opinion is we can do this. I'll explain why tomorrow. The most important thing is the head of nation is saying, you Parliament, find a way to make Asgardia a recognised territory in the United Kingdom. Sorry, in the world, sorry. In the same way that I jumped ahead a little bit. In the same way, the United Kingdom is a recognised nation in the world, and France and America and 193 nations, I think. There are actually 226 nations, I think. There's some argument about the number. We want to be in the group which is recognised by the United Nations. And there's a process. We can talk about that tomorrow. I also happen to be, I don't know if I can call myself an expert about the Montevideo Convention. I've read it many times. And there are 4 key elements, which I'll explain again tomorrow. They were discussed in the Executive Congress in Dubai. And I have to say, I learned something when I was there. I learned something I had not realized we do about population, which I'll explain. The head of nation actually corrected me on something I had not realized. And it was helpful. So we will discuss all that tomorrow. Right, I'm opening it up to anybody else who would like to speak. Okay, this had, if in the old days, some of you weren't here when this happened, but in the old days when we had consecutive translation, this would have taken 4 times longer. So it would have been 2 hours and 24 minutes already. But because we have simultaneous translation, we get a lot more done in a lot less time. Okay. In which case, I have 3 other observations and 2 bits of any other business. Raise your hand if you need to say something. If no one has raised their hand by the time I finish my AOB, any other business, then I'll close it for today. 3 observations. The most important thing for the next year is to get that land recognition, that we have got land which is Asgardia. And I believe that needs to be by 12th of October 2026, the 10th anniversary of our nation state. And that, I think, will require all of us to play our part. So that discussion tomorrow is very important. And I will give as much time as we need so that everyone can have their say. Please do have a look at the document, which is available to everyone, the decree, because that will form the basis of the discussion. And I will go through that decree in detail because it's really important that we understand the huge responsibility. And this responsibility goes far beyond Asgardia, because when we get that status, that begins to define how humans will live in space. There's no doubt at all. What we are doing now is essential, and nobody else is doing this work. Not films in Hollywood, no other nation on Earth, only us. And there are reasons I'll explain tomorrow why it has to be Asgardia. Second, the question Sarah asked me was good, and just to summarize, I'll find out if those I'll find out who is presenting on that point of reappointing the justices, the 4 justices. And then the third and the final thing is this. After the Asgardia Executive Congress, I sense a new level of energy, and the head of nation is totally committed to the success of our nation state. So this is a very important final sitting for this year. When I was re-elected by you kindly to be chair of Parliament, and you had a choice, Ariadne stood as well, which is a great contributor to Parliament. I said that we were moving from structure to delivery. I personally define the success for Parliament in the next year as getting that land. So a big part of tomorrow will be about that. But delivery in the committees as well. And on day 3, we have 12 great presentations, which I hope you will be able to attend. I'll come to John in a moment. I've got 2 bits of any other business. One is, if you are watching anywhere in the world, go to the Asgardia app, which we'll be discussing more as well. You can get that in the app store. It's called Asgardia, and you'll find it, and you'll find the symbol of Asgardia, which is here next to me. That's what you get from the app, and it has so much information that every parliamentarian should use it. I use it for reference myself, and it has communication systems. And I was with Minister Flores Witz in Dubai. We tested it. You can send photographs. You can send a lot of things. But please do go to the app, and you'll find everything there, including how to join Asgardia. The second and final piece of any other business is this. We have got a lot of work to do. So please do consider this as a working session as we define our mindset, our goals, and our mission for the next year. That's what I think we are doing over the next 3 days. That's everything I had. Let me go to John. John.
Yes. Well, you said a couple of things there in your briefing that I need a little follow up on. The decree, is that been posted on the website already?
We're discussing it. We're discussing it here. I haven't checked, but you should have it in your. Yes, you should have access to it as a parliamentarian. And the head of nation is working with us and is giving us responsibility. So this is the first time I've publicly. Well, I will be publicly presenting it on behalf of head of nation. He's confirmed he wants me to do that. So this is the first debate on this. And of course, if we can make important suggestions, head of nation is very interested. So it's a public, available document to you, and it leads to the really big document, which is the actual legislation that goes with it.
Right. Well, where's the decree at? Is it in his decree on his page?
Yes. Well, I believe that's been shared with all of you in the notes for this parliament. I'm just checking. I'm sure the reason I sound vague is because I obviously look at these things all the time. So I sometimes maybe think you have them, and you don't.
I mean, I make sure I get that in the. I want to include that in part of the documentation for the act when I put all the stuff in there.
Yeah, see, I've seen it a number of times, and I'm just getting a reply to see. I would have to leave the page I'm using to chair from to have a look. So I don't want to do that. Yeah, no, okay. Right, it'll be published after the presentation. It'll be published after the presentation. So we start with Parliament. It's the right way of doing it because the head of nation is working with us to make this happen. I have no doubt this is his number one priority for next year. Okay. Because everything will happen from this. If we have land, we will get a huge increase in residents because if we're a recognized nation state, then our travel documents have validity, our visas or identity, everything, our passports, everything comes from that. The recognition of Asgardia as a nation state has huge consequences. So the decree will be published after the third reading of the act. I see. Yeah. Okay. All right. There's two different things. Once we actually have the act, then there'll be a decree for the act. This decree initiates the process of creating.
That's what I need.
Yeah. So the decree tells us to do the act, and the act will be approved by decree. So the decree is not the act. We have to make the act. The decree starts that process.
Yeah, I understand that. I just wonder if I could. I need a copy of it so I can put it in the files.
Yeah. It will be published after the presentation.
What, tomorrow?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And also you said that when you were talking about how we could go about owning land, you had your own thoughts about that.
Yeah.
Can you put them thoughts on paper real quick and shoot me an email so I can put that in the file too?
Yes, but not before tomorrow. And I'll tell you why. I expect that the quality of the debate will improve my own thinking on it. And I don't want to make I don't want to influence that debate too much. I'll share my views tomorrow, and I will commit to. I'll ask if Linda and Aliona can write that down. I will share my views on this as well. I expect to be heavily. I expect to be heavily involved in this process, because everyone has to be involved in this process, because it will take a big effort by all of us. Yes, basically, just to be clear then, this decree, so that it's helpful, I'm getting good help from my team, and they're asking me to clarify. The decree we're discussing tomorrow starts the process of the legislation. When the legislation is finished, it will be approved by decree. First, second, third reading. So what we're looking at tomorrow is the instruction coming from head of nation, not the act. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make a copy of it so I can include that in on the draft, you know, as part of the supporting document. So, and what your thoughts are too. Even if you send me the pre-thoughts, that'd still be better than nothing. So when I make this file, I have, you know, and then if you want to change your thoughts afterwards, because it ain't going to change anything for tomorrow. No. It's just I'm just gonna put it in the documentation.
Yeah. That's fine. And you won't get this from me by tomorrow, because I have to do so much else between now and tomorrow. But after the debate,
come on, man.
It's okay for you just walking around wherever you're walking around.
I've
done stay in the office.
3 documents while I'm walking around and answered 5 phone calls.
Well, okay. But so yes, so what will happen is the decree will be published after the debate, and then the legislation will be commenced at the first sitting of next year. Well, that'll be the first. We have to have the first reading, and I expect that'll be at the end of January or the beginning of February. I haven't fixed the dates yet, but I expect that will be the time. My guess is second or third weekend of February.
Okay. I'm just anxious to get all this stuff in. And
I really want that. I think we all want it now, because that's exactly where we're heading. We're actually heading to Asgardia.
I'm actually excited that he's going this route, and because this is the right route to go. This is the way Asgardia was set up. So
it is actually exactly the right way to do it. And the head of nation is giving us an opportunity, but also a responsibility.
Oh, sorry.
Go
on. Somebody was yelling at me.
Look at the excitement that this decree is creating.
Hey, he keeps calling me Johnny E5 Millionaire. I said, not yet.
Thank you for that. Anybody else? Does anybody else want to raise anything before we close for today? Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you to our interpreters who make everything quicker. If we had done it the old way, that would be roughly 50 times 4, 200 minutes. It would call it taking us. So we're doing very well. Great efficiencies. Right. So in that case, let's conclude there. If you like what you see, please do consider becoming a member of Asgardia, just by following Asgardia and paying the €100 residency fee in your currency. And you as well can be part of this great and exciting initiative. An initiative which will lead to nation status in this country. It benefits in the United Nations and around the world. And you'll be contributing to how we live in space, hopefully better than we've done it on Earth. With that, I will draw this to a close. I'm Lembit Opik, the Chair of the Parliament. You've been watching us in the opening logistics and administrative session of our Parliament. You can vote on all of the legislation now, but I ask you to vote for the quorum, for the agenda, or against it if you want. But please vote, or even abstain, because we need to get 50% plus 1 to make all of our votes count. So let's close there. Thank you very much for watching all over the world. We can finish the broadcast.